Welcome back to the Tool World Podcast. I'm your host, David Jew, and I'm here with Master Jew.
How's it going there, Mr. Jew?
It's going okay.
So this podcast is supposed to be technical. Does that mean we have to demonstrate?
No.
Can you throw a demonstration?
Ooh,
How
you
do
know
do
what?
that?
I don't know. Yeah, people ask that kind of question, and if you want to join a Tool World Plus,
That's the technical part.
Yeah. So we do film videos for that. So
We did get someone that was they did join for a month and then they canceled.
yeah, you could check it out.
That's fine.
And my feelings aren't hurt.
Yours might not be hurt. Mine was hurt.
All right, so let's jump into it. This week we're going to talk about sine wave, right? And there are
Again?
7 different types of sine wave.
Well, no, that question kind of came up. I don't know if there's really 7 different types of sine wave. Basically, you've only got, I think, basically 2. Mm-hmm. The idea of sine wave, what is the idea of sine wave? It's this body movement that we tend to go up and down. It's just a natural motion when you walk, you run, whatever. As General Che would call sine wave, a little bit better than saying natural. How do you do that? Natural.
Yeah.
He wants to say sine wave.
So when did sine wave come about?
I think it's always been there.
Okay.
To be honest, when you look at some of these old, even if you can find some old ITF videos of Taekwondo, right? And you can see this kind of up and down movement, but sometimes we see a lot of big up and down movement. But this up and down movement is this kind of natural way of moving. That's what I think General Che was trying to bring across. He didn't call it sine wave, it's just natural, but how do you get to people to do something natural? It is kind of interesting because if I get a new student, well, let's not pick on a child, but someone that's older, an adult, maybe a teenager, and you say, throw a punch. And they can throw a okay punch. All right, not a knockout punch or not a break punch, but they can throw a punch. And then you start teaching them Taekwondo, and you start doing 4-directional punching, and all of a sudden it's like, it's not fast, it's not, it's not natural. You're making them do something that isn't normal for them. It is a process because I think when you go through that and they start to develop it, it can then develop that speed and power and that kind of stuff. It just takes time. So we have to retrain them in that way, right? And so I think that that's true with the sine wave. We normally do that. So General Che started to bring in this idea, I think maybe in the 80s.
That's what I'm thinking, yeah.
Started calling it sine wave. And try to explain what is this? It's this relaxation of the body. And just like some of the training secrets, eyes, hands, feet, breath together, elbows and knees should be slightly bent before you execute it. And all of this kind of leads to that relaxation. And so when you relax, your body moves a certain way. So sine wave is basically defined in 2 different ways, and that is knee spring and heel raising. When your knees are bent, then we don't need to lift the heel. We just move our body up and down.
Yeah.
When the legs are locked out, then how do we generate this power? Because we want to drive our body to lower.
Yeah.
Right? And so we have to lift the heel up and then drop our weight. And it's not Taekwondo. The power comes from this downward motion driving our body basically to the ground. You see that in baseball. They wind up the ball and they drop their weight when they throw it, right? When you think about like if you're running and like football, American football, and you're running and the guy is going to get tackled, what does he do? He doesn't stand straight up because the center of gravity is too high. He lowers his body weight, so that's the downward motion.
Well, I guess in karate, they would keep that body weight low. That's why you have
It's always
horizontal weight, right? So when you keep it low, I mean, kind of looking at that football analogy, they're kind of keeping it low when they strike their opponent, right? So why would we not want to just keep it low? I know it's a little bit more unnatural.
Yeah, it's not natural.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, so my question is, why would we not want to do that?
Okay. I think that's a good question. It doesn't make sense because it's not natural, right? We don't walk around low all the time, being ready to fight.
Yeah.
And even, although the karate system, I don't. I have friends and we train together, and so I kind of understand what they're doing. It's just a training system, just like Taekwondo. It's a training system, or any other martial arts, a training system, but where do you want to get it to? The end result is like self-defense. How do I fight?
Yeah.
Right? But if you watch a karate guy, he's not going to spar down low like that. But he's low.
They kind of have like a low fighting stance.
No, they do.
They kind of do.
I do, but when you're sparring, you're moving. You've got to go down.
Yeah.
And that's where you generate the power. And I kind of think of the system really is about training the body to be as low as possible, to have maximum power, maximum body strength for that position. Doing low stances and stuff like that all the time, that's going to develop that.
Yeah.
If you're always standing upright and it's always relaxed, you're not going to develop that, deep down, solid stance, driving your body to the ground in general, right? We were talking about the 7 different ways, getting back on track.
Well, we could go, maybe it's just 2, right?
Just 2.
I mean,
it's knee springs and heel raising.
Heel raise, yeah.
Right? And so when you start to look at like moving and stationary positions.
Right, I guess the instructor was asking about like, okay, if I'm in a walking stance and I just don't move my feet, right?
Right.
That sine wave is a little bit different than when I step forward.
But we still applied, I was trying to explain that we still apply those 2 basic concepts. So in the walking stance, the front knee is bent, the back leg is straight. So the leg is straight, that should mean that we bring the heel up.
But it does have to bend the knee beforehand, correct?
You bend the knee so that because, you don't necessarily have to bend the knee. You could just go straight up and then down.
Well, that would be like fast motion.
That'd be more like a fast
Well,
motion.
the relaxation is the knee bends down and then comes up.
What we call regular motion is this down, up, down. So in order to go down, you'd have to bend that knee.
Yeah.
So you can go down, and you go up, and then you go down.
Yeah.
The down is the most important part.
Right.
It's the driving the body weight to the lowest possible ground to develop stability and power.
Well, I think you bring up an interesting question because I believe when sine wave was first kind of coming about, that it was more an emphasis of an up-down motion. It was not a down-up-down motion.
Yeah, I think it does say that.
Oh, I don't know if it was in a book, but I think, before sine wave,
Was defined?
it was more just up-down, right? Rather than that relaxed down, up-down.
It's just a matter of what is natural. I mean, there's certain times that you would kind of go down and up. Like if I was walking, and we're not talking about big up and down movement. It's just a very subtle type of, so when we walk,
Yeah.
we do shift our weight and it kind of goes down and it kind of comes up and then you go down.
Yeah.
But there are some situations where you're just standing up. You don't go down. If I was standing with my legs locked out,
Yeah.
I wouldn't go down, up and down,
Right.
right? It would be, even walking, if I was to take a step and I was my legs are locked out in a parallel stance, I would bring one heel up and then I would go down.
Right.
So that's up and down. That's that heel raising.
Yeah.
And I think that's what General Che was saying, that if your knees are bent, then you use knee spring, and if your legs are locked out, you use heel raising. And you just apply that into the different stepping motion, slipping, sliding, any of those stuff. And how does it work? There's not always going to be this kind of big movement. That's why when I see some technique, specifically like that walking stance, like even circular block, where people go down too low, it's not even that low.
Yeah.
It should be actually fairly small. And actually, the sine wave is only supposed to be like 30 degrees. It's not a lot.
Yeah. All right, well, let us know you guys' thoughts on sine wave.
Again.
Yeah. And as always, don't forget to be safe.
Keep training.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Take one.